Steve Albini, an icon of indie rock as both a producer and performer, has died of a heart attack. Staff at his recording studio, Electrical Audio, confirmed to Pitchfork. As well as fronting underground rock linchpins including Shellac and Big Black, Albini was a legend of the recording studio, though he preferred the term engineer to producer. He recorded Nirvana's In Utero, Pixies' Surfer Rosa, PJ Harvey's Rid of Me, and countless more classic albums, and remained an outspoken critic of exploitative music industry practices until his final years. Shellac were preparing to tour their first album in a decade, To All Trains, which is scheduled for release next week. Steve Albini was 61 years old. Despite his insistence that he would work with any artist who paid his fee, Albini's catalog as a self-described audio engineer encompasses a swath of alternative rock that is practically a genre unto itself. After early work on Surfer Rosa, Slint's Tweez, and The Breeders' Pod, he became synonymous with brutal, live-sounding analog production that carried palpable raw energy. His unparalleled resume in the late 1980s and 90s includes the Jesus Lizard's influential early albums, The Wedding Present Sea Monsters, Brainiac's Hissing Prigs and Static Couture, as well as records by Low, Dirty 3, Helmet, Boss Hogg and John Spencer Blues Explosion, Hum, Superchunk, and dozens more. His influence rang through to the next generations of rock, punk, and metal at home and abroad, many of whom he went on to produce, the likes of Mogwai, McCluskey, Cloud Nothings, Mono, Ty Segall, and Sun O. He also recorded enduring greats of the singer-songwriter canon, Joanna Newsom's YS, Nina Nastasia's early records, and much of the Jason Molina catalog among them. Albini was born in Pasadena, California, and lived a peripatetic childhood before his family settled in Missoula, Montana. As a teenager, his discovery of Ramones transformed what he described, to Jeremy Gordon for The Guardian, as a normal Montana childhood into an altogether wilder entity. In the subsequent years, while studying journalism in Illinois, he was drawn into the Chicago punk scene that his music would come to both defy and define. He began recording as Big Black in the early 1980s, channeling antisocial, sometimes violent themes through buzzsaw riffs and histrionic barks, grunts, and whelps, at first backed only by a drum machine, which remained a constant, pounding presence, and soon joined by Naked Raygun's Jeff Petzati and Santiago Durango. Dave Riley replaced Petzati on bass for the band's two landmark studio albums, Atomizer and Songs About Fucking. In his spare time, Albini would pin screeds in the 80s zine Matter admonishing bands in neighboring scenes, establishing the firebrand reputation that established him as an eminent rock grouch and refusenik. After Big Black, Albini formed the short-lived Rape Man, a name he came to regret, despite the sardonic intent, before founding Shellac in the early 90s with Bob Weston and Todd Traynor. After a string of EPs through his longtime home of Touch and Go and Drag City, the band extensively toured, including an all-but residency at Primavera Sound, the only music festival Albini was happy to play, and released 5 beloved albums: 1994's at Action Park, 1998's Terraform, 2000's 1000 Hertz, 2007's Excellent Italian Greyhound, and 2014's Dude Incredible. Throughout his career, Albini courted controversy through provocative band names, Rape Man, Run In ***** or Run, song titles, Pray I Don't Kill You F*** ****OT, My Black Ass, and offhand statements, I Want to Strangle Odd Future. While he refused to apologize for his choice in names and jokes in Michael Azarad's 2001 book Our Band Could Be Your Life, Albini made it clear that he believed his real stances on race, gender, LGBTQ rights, and politics were obvious. I have less respect for the man who bullies his girlfriend and calls her MS than a guy who treats women reasonably and respectfully and calls them yo, bitch, Albini told Azarad. The point of all this is to change the way you live your life, not the way you speak. Later in life, however, Albini repeatedly apologized for his past controversies, realizing that intent and moral clarity only went so far. A lot of things I said and did from an ignorant position of comfort and privilege are clearly awful and I regret them. It's nobody's obligation to overlook that, and I do feel an obligation to redeem myself, Albini wrote on X in 2021. If anything, we were trying to unlearn the banality, the everyday nonchalance toward our common history with the atrocious, all while laboring under the tacit mistaken notion that things were getting better. I'm overdue for a conversation about my role in inspiring edgelord shit. Believe me, I've met my share of punishers at gigs and I sympathize with anybody who isn't me but still had to suffer them. He talked in depth about his regrets with The Guardian, Mel Magazine, and others. Amid all of his ongoing work, Albini was a remarkable poker player. In 2022, he won a World Series of Poker gold bracelet after beating 773 other players in the $1,500 entry HORSE competition for a huge prize of $196,089. While most players dressed in button-up shirts and plain tees, Albini wore a furry, white hat shaped like a bear and a red Jack O' Nuts shirt, saying the Athens noise rock musicians, "Bring me luck." He won another WSOP gold bracelet in 2018 for beating 310 players in 7-card, stud to the tune of $105,629. Back then, he was wearing a cocaine piss shirt during the big win. He had a massive grin on his face in the photos documenting both wins.